So today I'm going to answer some more of your questions. I love the comments I get, and I love having a chance to answer. So please don't be shy to ask questions in the comments. Today's question comes from Paul Cooper, who wanted to know about using Barry's methods for modulating. Now, that's a topic, I mean, we could be here all day long um, discussing all kinds of modulations. Um, I'd say that the easiest answer, the very first obvious way to modulate, is to just go to the new key with no preparation whatsoever. So, you know, let's say you're playing a song. You just go to the next key. I mean, you can just go. And there's actually a couple of songs that do that. Like right off the top of my head, there's the bridge to Lover. Lover goes. Then it goes to E. It does set up E, but watch what happens. It goes. All of my future is in you. Your every step I design. Promise you'll always continue to be mine. So now a lot of people do play, your every step I design. Right, and they set up the modulation from E major to G major using a 2/5 progression to get to G. And I did that once in class, and I got yelled at because, Barry was like, you just destroyed that beautiful effect of just going to the key and having it just open right up, All of my future is in you. So we're kind of hanging out in the key of E for a minute. Every step I design. And then right to G. Promise you'll always continue to be mine. And then Barry likes to put the ladybird turn around to leave back home. Just one example. Another one, maybe the bridge to Sophisticated Lady. He goes, this. With this illusion deep in your eyes, you say that fools in love soon grow wise. The years have changed you somehow, I see you now. And then it goes right to G. Smoking, drinking, never thinking about tomorrow. I mean, it just, boom, you just go. So that's the first very obvious answer, is just go. But I don't think that was the nature of the question. I think the question was really talking more about how would you prepare a modulation. And so I guess the easy answer in a short video format, obviously you can do any type, endless. But if I were to narrow it down to one thing to really check out first, it would be, the diminished. The diminished seventh chord, okay, in this case I'm doing a C sharp diminished seventh chord. The diminished seventh chord is like a master key that opens all the locks, all the doors. If you want to think about it, and this is related to another upcoming video that I'm going to talk about, Barry's genealogy, where what chord begat what chord, which begat which chord, and so on. The biblical genealogy of chords according to Barry Harris. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, and we did touch on it on a couple of other videos, which I'll link to in the description. There's the connecting 2 6 chords with the diminished. Right? And then right there, you already have 4 modulations at your disposal. Let's have a look. So remember that we said that if you move 2 voices down, you end up with a major 6 chord. So this C sharp diminished 7 turns into an E flat 6 in the third inversion, C, E flat, G, B flat. Now that, again, I'll link to the video where I talk more about this. And then if I move those same notes up, I end up with a B flat 6. D, F, G, and B flat. So now I can move, I'll kind of end up being in the key of B flat if I do this. Now, since the diminished is symmetrical, I can move the middle two voices. And you see we've already changed keys. Same thing with the next two voices. Let's move the top two voices, the G and the B flat, in the C sharp diminished. And now I'm going to be in the key of E. So I ended up, oh, and there's one more. What are the next two consecutive notes I can move up? The outer notes, the C sharp and the B flat. They are consecutive. I can move them down and up and get a C6 and an F6, which puts me kind of in the key of F. What did I just say? Yeah, C6, sorry, and F's, a C6 to a G6, which puts me in the key of G. So you can hear the modulation. Let's do all 4 key centers so you can hear it. So I can move freely between 4 keys. What were the 4 keys? They were G, B flat, D flat, and E. So there's 4. What are some other ways I can get to some of the other 4? Well, if I take one chord tone down, I end up with a dominant 7th. This C sharp diminished turns into a C7 by moving one chord tone down. C7 wants to go where? F. By the same token, I can move the E down to E flat. Now I have an E flat 7. And I can go to A flat major. Same C sharp diminished chord. Last time I moved the E, now I'll move the G. I end up with an F sharp 7. Which takes me to B. And the very last one, the B flat, becomes a C, which takes me where? D. Which gives me, what did I say? F, A flat, B, and D. The one after that, it was C, E flat, was that one that we were doing? Hang on. B flat. So, okay, so then we had the G, B flat. We had this group. There's only one group left. Only one group left. I was able to get to 8 keys using the same diminished chord. That same C sharp diminished. I could get to F, A flat, B, and D, and G, B flat, C sharp, and E. How did I get to the F sharp, A, C, and E flat group or family? Well, let's have a look. Well, what happens See, instead of lowering one note down to get a dominant 7, I raised the other 3 notes. And now I'm in G flat. And now I've got these. I'll keep the D flat and move the other 3. And I'm in G flat. I'll keep the E, move the other 3. I have an E7, leads me to A. Here's my C sharp diminished again. This time I'll keep the G. Move the rest of them. I have a G7, which leads to C. And last but not least, keep the B flat, move the other 3, and now I've got E flat. So, by creatively thinking and moving one note in a diminished, or 2 notes, either up or down, I can get to any key center, any of the 12, from one diminished. So think about that. You can get to anywhere from anywhere. Diminished chords themselves also have a dominant relationship to each other. So here's this C sharp diminished. I can think of that as an A7, because every 7th chord you can think of a diminished on the top, right? Right? So if that's the case, that's an A, that's a D. Here it is on the 7th. So you can go. So in other words, by stringing diminished chords together, I can go through the cycle of fifths. Sounds a little bit like that Blood, Sweat, and Tears tune. You get the picture that this gives you a cycle. So that means now I can put 2 in a row and get a double dominant situation and get to any key. So let's say I'm playing, oh, I don't know. Just pick the diminished. I got myself to a diminished somehow. Ooh, you slide one that's not expected down a half step. You find which dominant that is, and boom, you're in the new key. All right, well, this video is getting kind of long already, and we just scratched the surface. But I really hope that I helped show. Oh no, I just remembered another thing. We've got to spend another couple of minutes. Okay, 6th diminished chord. Well, every 6th diminished. Okay, every 6th has a diminished. So this diminished is a diminished of C. It's also diminished of E flat, right? It's also the diminished of G flat. It's also diminished of A, just like we demonstrated. So what do we got? C, E flat, G flat, sorry, A. So, let's try this. can use the common diminished to move between keys in the same family or diminished group. Okay, that's all I'm going to get to now, because this video is going to be 8 hours long if we really get into it. But I really hope that it does kind of point you in the right direction and get you started experimenting with going from anywhere to anywhere using that master key that we call the diminished seventh chord. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please keep those questions coming. Really great ideas and great questions. I love the comments. I will link to all the related videos in the comments. Like and subscribe, and you know, all the best. Happy chording.